The British royal family is one of the most famous institutions in the world, but behind the crowns and castles, it is also one of the most scandalous. This family has experienced it all: cheating, divorces, betrayals, secret affairs, and full-blown royal meltdowns. From Henry VIII changing the entire religion of England to obtain a divorce to Harry, and Meghan shaking up the monarchy in ways no one anticipated, many of the largest scandals in British history originated from the palace. Some even changed the world forever. So how did they do it? And after centuries of drama, can they survive what's coming next? Let's explore the shocking discoveries that impacted the world. Henry VIII effectively reshaped history to achieve his desires. His first wife, Catherine of Aragon, was unable to provide him a son. Divorce was not an option according to the Catholic Church, and the Pope denied him an annulment. Henry took drastic measures, severed ties with Rome, declared himself the head of the Church of England, and obtained his divorce. Thus, the English Reformation commenced. Anne Boleyn was young and ambitious and promised Henry a son. She gave birth to Elizabeth of Windsor, but that was not enough. Soon, she was accused of adultery, incest, and treason. The charges were likely false, but the verdict was already decided. On May 17, 1536, 5 men, including her brother, were executed. 2 days later, Anne was beheaded by a skilled French swordsman, a mercy arranged by Henry. Jane Seymour finally gave him a son, Edward VI, but died from childbirth complications. Henry married again. Catherine Howard, a teenager, became his wife when he was nearly 50. She continued an affair with Thomas Culpeper, and when Archbishop Thomas Cranmer found out, her fate was sealed. On February 13, 1542, she was executed at the Tower of London. By the time Henry died, he had been married 6 times. Only one wife, Catherine Parr, outlived him. His obsession with a male heir shaped the monarchy, changed England's religion, and left behind a legacy of bloodshed. Henry VIII's brutal reign was merely the beginning. By the 17th century, England's monarchy faced its greatest crisis. Charles I, a king who believed in his absolute right to rule, found himself at war with his own parliament. His reign was characterized by increasing tensions. He imposed heavy taxes, dismissed parliament when it defied him, and governed as he liked. However, his actions ignited rebellion. The conflict escalated into the English Civil War, a brutal series of battles between the king's supporters, the royalists, and the parliamentarians, led by Oliver Cromwell. These wars, fought from 1642 to 1651, involved not just England. Scotland, Wales, and Ireland were also engulfed in the bloodshed, transforming it into a struggle for control over all 3 kingdoms. After years of conflict, Charles was captured, put on trial for treason, and sentenced to death. No English king had ever been executed by his people. On January 30th, 1649, Charles was led to a scaffold outside the banqueting house in London. Dressed in black, he stepped forward with composed dignity. With one swift stroke, the executioner's axe fell, severing the king's head. A gasp rippled through the crowd. The monarchy, once regarded as sacred, had been shattered. But the execution of a king was not the end of royal scandals. With Charles I gone, England became a republic under Cromwell, but it didn't endure. The monarchy was restored in 1660, and Charles II, the executed king's son, returned to the throne. However, he ruled very differently. Instead of conflict, his legacy would be defined by indulgence, excess, and a scandalous web of mistresses. The execution of Charles I sent shockwaves through England, but the monarchy was not so easily erased. In 1660, his son, Charles II, reclaimed the throne, bringing an era of restoration, revelry, and scandal. Unlike his father, Charles II ruled with charm and cunning, avoiding the fatal mistakes that had led to civil war. But if Charles I had been known for his defiance, his son became famous for something else entirely: his insatiable appetite for pleasure. Dubbed the Merry Monarch, Charles II turned the royal court into a stage of extravagance, where loyalty was rewarded with power and Mistresses wielded more influence than ministers. His marriage to Catherine of Braganza was little more than a political arrangement. The quiet, pious queen could not give him an heir, but Charles saw no need for restraint. He fathered at least 11 illegitimate children with 14 known mistresses, actresses, noblewomen, and even spies. Among them, Barbara Villiers ruled the court with ruthless ambition, while Nell Gwynn, a former orange seller turned actress, captured the hearts of the common people. France's Louise de Querouaille, meanwhile, was rumored to have been more than just a lover. Some whispered she was a political pawn sent to manipulate the king. Yet for all his indulgence, Charles II knew one truth above all: survival mattered more than morality. He had seen what happened when a king lost the trust of his people, and he had no intention of sharing his father's fate. But even a king who lived for pleasure could not escape the tides of history. Because after Charles, the throne would fall into the hands of a ruler whose reign would push England to the brink of another revolution. The Stuart dynasty was gone, and in its place came a foreign king, Georg Ludwig, Elector of Hanover. He barely spoke English, had no real connection to the country, and cared little for its traditions. But in 1714, he became King George I, chosen for one reason: he was Protestant. His reign marked the start of the Hanoverian era, one filled with family feuds, scandals, and extravagance. George I was cold and distant. His wife, Sophia Dorothea, had been imprisoned for adultery and was never spoken of again. Instead, he arrived in England with his mistress, Melusine, and his half-sister, Sophia Charlotte, who was mocked as the Elephant. The English court was shocked, but George didn't care. He preferred talking about wars and numbers over winning hearts. His son, George II, was just as difficult. He argued with Parliament, his ministers, and even his father. But he was brave, the last British king to lead troops into battle. Then came George IV, a king of excess. His coronation cost a fortune, his love life was a mess, and his marriage to Caroline of Brunswick became a national scandal. But when his only child, Princess Charlotte, died in childbirth, the future of the monarchy was thrown into chaos. The Hanoverians ruled through drama and indulgence, but even greater changes were still to come. As the Victorian age gave way to the modern world, the British monarchy found itself at the center of scandal once again. King Edward VII, the eldest son of Queen Victoria, was nothing like his reserved and dutiful mother. He was a man of indulgence, charm, and relentless appetite for luxury, for pleasure, and women. His string of mistresses was no mere rumor, but a well-known truth, whispered in the halls of Buckingham Palace and printed in the gossip columns of Europe. Among them were the actress Lily Langtry, the fiery Sarah Bernhardt, and Alice Keppel, who would remain his favorite until the day he died. Their influence reached beyond the bedroom, shaping political conversations and courtly intrigues. Queen Alexandra, his long-suffering wife, turned a blind eye, understanding that discretion was the only way to maintain dignity in the face of his indiscretions. But if Edward VII's reign was defined by tolerated scandal, his son, Edward VIII, would take things to a breaking point. His love for Wallis Simpson, a twice-divorced American, was more than just an affair. It was a challenge to the very foundations of the British monarchy. And for the first time in history, a king would abandon his throne, not for war or conquest, but for love. In 1981, the world watched as Prince Charles and Lady Diana Spencer exchanged vows in a wedding fit for a storybook. Millions tuned in, enchanted by the elegant princess and her royal prince. However, behind the grand spectacle, trouble was already brewing. Charles had never truly let go of his first love, Camilla Parker Bowles. Diana, adored by the public yet isolated behind palace walls, struggled in a marriage where love felt like an illusion. By the 1990s, the truth could no longer be hidden. Affairs, whispers of betrayal, and private pain spilled into the public eye. Then came Diana's explosive Panorama interview. With devastation, she revealed,
"Well, there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded.
the monarchy was shaken and the people took sides. Then, in 1997, the unthinkable happened.
This is CNN breaking news.
Britain's Princess Diana has been in an automobile accident.
Diana, Princess of Wales, has been died after a car crash in Paris.
Welcome to this special National 9 News update, and the news out of Paris on the condition of Princess Diana is not good. She is now officially reported as dead.
Diana's sudden death in a Paris car crash sent shockwaves through the world. Grief turned to anger as the royal family remained silent and distant. For the first time in modern history, the monarchy faced an ultimatum: adapt to the people's demands or risk losing them forever.
We're staying at the house of
Yes.
a convicted offender.
It was a convenient place to stay.
The world was stunned when Prince Andrew's connection to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein was exposed.
He asked me to dance.
What started as a controversial friendship spiraled into a scandal that rocked the royal family to its core. But it wasn't just his ties to Epstein that caused outrage. Allegations that Andrew had sexually assaulted Virginia Giuffre, one of Epstein's victims, turned a whisper of scandal into a global story. Desperate to clear his name, Prince Andrew sat down for a rare televised interview on Newsnight. It was supposed to be his moment to defend himself, but instead, his awkward answers and bizarre explanations made things worse. He denied meeting Giuffre despite a photo showing them together and claimed a medical condition prevented him from sweating, an attempt to discredit her accusations. The public was furious, and the royal family quickly responded. Prince Andrew was stripped of his military titles and forced to step back from royal duties. In 2022, the scandal took another turn when Andrew settled a civil lawsuit with Giuffre. He admitted no wrongdoing, but for many, the settlement was seen as an admission of guilt. The scandal left a lasting stain on his reputation and on the monarchy itself. In 2020, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle made a choice that surprised everyone. Their love story seemed like a fairy tale. Harry, a prince, and Meghan, a Hollywood actress, breaking royal rules and bringing more diversity to the royal family. But behind the scenes, things were far from perfect. Meghan, a strong and independent woman, struggled with the strict traditions of royal life. The media criticized her every move, making her the villain. Tension grew between Meghan and the royal family, and rumors started spreading. In January 2020,
the decision that I have made for my wife and I to step back is not one I made lightly.
Harry and Meghan shocked the world by stepping back from their royal duties. This decision, later called Megxit, divided public opinion. Some thought it was brave, while others saw it as a betrayal. The real bombshell came when they gave an interview with Oprah Winfrey. Meghan spoke about her mental health struggles and claimed that a royal had questioned the skin color of their unborn child. These shocking accusations of racism rocked the royal family. The palace's weak response, recollections may vary, didn't fix the damage. The monarchy's image was shaken, and Harry and Meghan's actions left people wondering about the future of the royal family. The British royal family has faced scandals for centuries, from Henry VIII's many wives to Harry and Meghan's stepping away from royal life. Each controversy has changed the way people see the monarchy and raised big questions about its future. Do you think these scandals are just part of being a royal in a changing world? Or do they show deeper problems within the monarchy? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and share it with others. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.